Check one, two, check one, two. Running late today. We'll be with you shortly. Oh, echo. Check one, two. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. We'll be with you in a little bit. Check again. Check. Check one, two. Check again. Check 1 2 1 2. Sorry for the late start, everyone. If someone could give me a comment, drop a comment there so I can make sure the graphics machines are working, I would appreciate it. Pedro's running a little late. I'm running a little late. We'll get going here shortly. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Audio check, ladies and germs. All right, we're getting somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you can hear me. If you can, drop a comment on the great comment machine. And also let me know if it sounds echoey. Clearly it does. Oh, why is that? Oh, sigh. Check, check, 1 2 1 2. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be getting started in just a minute. Waiting for Pedro Garcia to show up, and waiting for me to get my act together. Ah, there we go. Got a temporary setup today. All right, starting a little travel season again here. It's going to be Canada Day here in Canada. I'm in Toronto right now. It's going to be the 4th of July. I will be in the US for the 4th of July. see Pedro is coming on here. Not hear him yet, but Pedro, if you can hear me, just I don't know what to tell you, but our mics just may be live here, so.
I can hear you now.
I should be able to hear you, Pedro. Check, ladies and gentlemen, check, audio, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Check, ladies and gentlemen. This is audio check, ladies and gentlemen. Check. Pedro. Me again. Audio check. This is Tom speaking. Check 1 2. Pedro, are you there? All right, Pedro. Let's see if you come out over the stream. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be with you shortly. Pedro, give me another count to 1 to 5.
Check 1 2. Check 1. Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4 5. Can you guys hear us? I can hear myself.
I still don't hear myself. Oh, there. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro and I are both going to speak now. Mikester, let us know if you can hear me and my co-host. That's you, Pedro. Cue to speak. I said I was just doing an audio check, and I'm wondering if people can hear both of us. Well, I don't. Hold on. Let me fix that. I don't know what the hell's going on with my computer here. If we ever get started, maybe they will. I literally have no idea what just happened to the streaming software. There it is. All right. Let's see if we can come up here. Well, we're on camera, Pedro. Oh, I do look red, don't I? Wow. But I don't hear. Go ahead and speak, Pedro, for a second. Let's just see if it comes out on the system. Yes, Pedro. Just they can't hear you, Pedro, but they can hear me, even though we're both coming over the same device. I'm going to reload you. That's what I'm going to do. All right, Pedro, give us an audio check again here.
Audio check. Audio check 1 2. Audio check 1 2 3 4 5. Audio check. Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Ooh, there we go.
Alrighty, there we go. Hello from the other side.
Oh, now this is a professional live stream here, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell
Yes.
I've been doing this for 4 years here, live streaming, and a tech nerd my whole life. Oh, anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, wherever in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the we're not even going to call it where we are right now because it's not a good representation of what's going on here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another one of these great episodes with my wonderful co-host, Pedro Garcia, here in the box next to me. It is the end of June 30th, 2025. The rent's going to be due tomorrow. Half the year is over. It's almost Christmas. It's almost my birthday. And we had a failed beginning of the live stream today. But that's beside the point. Bitcoin is doing its weird stuff on Monday, up, down, all around. Pedro thinks someone's behind the scenes buying and propping it up. Maybe Michael Saylor is taking some of that hard-earned cash of his and buying a couple more billion. Who knows? Who knows? But today is Monday, which means it's Monday Markets Update. Pedro and I just talk about the markets. What kind of transpired at the end of last week to get us to where we are today, and how the week's going to shape out. Pedro, what's happening?
None much, man. It's been a really kind of quiet weekend. I was expecting something crazy to happen, but nothing actually came about, except for Trump saying he wants to get rid of Jerome Powell, and outside of that, really was kind of dead. Also, we Senator, I forget the guy's name.
Tune.
Yeah, Senator out of, come on, Brain, you got this. You can do it.
Brain.
You can do it, Brain. Work for me. Work for me. Yeah, it ain't gonna work. All right. Anyways, there was a senator freaking out. He was a Republican, saying that Trump is basically adding on pork, and that went viral. So that was really interesting to watch. Also, it was really interesting to see just kind of overall what's actually happening in the actual market, in particular in the energy market. Watching when Trump said, "Hey, we're quit that crap," and to see it sell off. Also, there was a major breaking connection with I forget the company. I actually had it written down and I lost it. It's actually in the car.
You and I are right just on it here today, Pedro.
There we are. Anyways, another nuclear signed deal. Basically, New York saying they need nuclear, and that's going to be populating. So they're pushing that out, which is kind of shocking because I mean, they're so woke that I'm just shocked that they actually are saying, okay, yeah, but the reality is if they don't, it's going to really hurt them. So it's supposed to power about another 1 million homes to get it going. But it's really interesting that we actually are watching like just this idea of like for so many years, people have been like, no, bad, nuclear bad. But now it's like with the advent of AI and as well as what we're going to need in the future, just because population growth, we need it. And coal's not going to be able to sustain what we need. So it's going to be really interesting to see that correlate. I know in my local area, they're really buckling down on actually water, hydropower.
Water.
Yeah, hydropower. And so
it's meant like out of your faucet.
No. Hydropower is really like they've already picked up like 3 or 4 contracts of like, and there's a lot of stuff being built right now to actually get some hydropower throughout Connecticut. So it's been really interesting to see what's actually happening.
Well, they could easily buy it from Quebec, but the current trade war is preventing that from happening.
Yeah, like what was interesting that they actually took down their tax. Canada.
Oh, the digital services tax.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Mark Carney relented. And he made a handshake deal with the president out in Alberta last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the G7 was. But in Canada, it slipped into law starting this. Actually, today was the first day of it, and apparently they're doing some parliamentary procedure to delay its implementation.
Is that like a filibuster type of thing, or is that like?
I think it's just the prime minister in Canada is essentially a dictator. Whatever they say is law. They can do whatever they want.
He's the king.
Right, he's essentially the king. And so he can just, say, all right, we're going to do away with it. The next time they sit as parliament, they just pass a single resolution saying it's done. But the previous government was using it just to soak the tech companies for money. It's basically extortion. And there's nobody in the country that actually supports it because they say, oh, this is just something Google and Facebook is going to pay for. But really, when you go to log into your Google AdSense account, it says, oh, are you in Canada? You will be starting, on whatever date, you're going to be charged an extra 15% or whatever the tax was, because Canada is now charging the digital service tax. It wasn't like Google and Facebook were just going to eat the tax. They just, pass it on.
As always,
anyway,
as they normally do.
So it was just a tax. Right. So they said, nope, goodbye.
Really interesting. Actually, really interesting. Also, shockingly, but I'm actually kind of impressed with them, Robinhood has decided to launch ETH and Solana. Check this out. And it just blew me away. Staking protocols. So you can actually go through. And so go Robinhood, man. It's about time. I mean, since everything's kind of
expansion for Robinhood, yeah. Big expansion, expanding much more into Europe, expanding into tokenized stocks. Not just, you can trade stocks on Robinhood anyway, but they're going to have tokenized ones so you can trade them in your crypto wallet.
Yeah.
All kinds of cool stuff over there. And staking. Staking stable coins, staking other major ones too.
Well, kind of blew me away is also that we saw Crypto.com doing tokenized stocks, which I thought was really interesting. I was like, but I actually like Robinhood's way of doing it because you can still buy. I always tell everybody, there's nothing wrong with buying fractal stocks until you can, buy more, because either way you're still getting dividends off of it. So buying those just accumulates itself, and every quarter you're making money off of it. So I always say, hey, put your money in and it just starts to accumulate itself. I mean, look, I was reading up about the idea behind, what do they call it, the personal instead of putting your money into Social Security, you would actually put your money into your own personal account. And so you could go through and you put in the index, and basically it just takes care of itself instead of your money flowing in. But the back of my mind, I'm like, how are we going to take care of the actual people who are there, who still currently own or put their money into Social Security, And
everybody still puts it automatically into Social Security through work, but everybody else has a retirement, a 401k, an IRA, a Roth IRA, or a pension fund, or one of those things.
Well, imagine if you could literally add your Social Security into an index fund.
Right.
And I was reading about that because the reality is, every kid under 40, like 39, 38, they know they're not going to receive any money from Social Security, and if they do, it's going to be minute, and they're still just going to have to be paying that tax for BS. So they're just like, why am I doing this to the generation who screwed us over, supposedly? Right? So like we're talking, it's just one of those things I'm looking at it going like, interesting. But anyways, those are real quick news things we're going to go over, but I want to go over Bitcoin here real quick, and then we can jump right back into this. Let me know when the screen's up.
You're up. You're on the screen, buddy.
Excellent. All right, guys. So we're up in the supply area right now. We've been playing off of it now. We talked about, I thought we were going to see us drop down to these lower levels over the weekend, expected news, but nothing really happened. So fingers crossed, that's awesome. But it's interesting. Today we saw the market sell off pretty hard, and then with a pretty good amount of sell pressure, especially at the low here. So really interesting. And the fact that Michael Saylor bought another, what was it, 300 mil?
Oh, I didn't see the Saylor news today, but it's, he buys on Sundays.
Yep. Michael Saylor strategy buys 4,980 Bitcoin, or 4,980 Bitcoin worth $531 million. And it was funny because I was watching this, came out around 5 o'clock this morning, but it was really interesting to see that during the night session they pushed it up to drop it. So part of me almost wonders if he was the liquidity where they could drop it.
That's a good point. I was watching that last night and I hadn't thought of that. It was Sunday.
Yeah, so the seller comes in, boom, pushes it up, and then they're like, "Thank you for the liquidity." Boom, drop it. So, but the scary part behind it is this: at the open, we saw a big old sell order or a bunch of sell orders come in that really kind of dropped the market up or dropped the market off because it really kind of pushed this market down at these lower levels. Somebody was trying to drop it as well. So you could see here, there's some big banks or somebody selling off a ton of orders here and kind of started around the 10 o'clock area. And then you can see it just progressed to just a big dump. So I don't know if it was just that this person up here, because Sailor bought, and he just simply used it as a way for him to kind of push off and short the market. But obviously he sold off the rest of his position. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. Again, I'm bearish for today. I think they're going to bring the market down. And so it put in that weekly wick, which would look something like about this. Give me 1 second. Probably going to at least come in.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing a black screen for a second. It's intentional. Just give me, Pedro, keep on talking while I refresh the screen here.
Alrighty. So one of the things that you can sit there and see is this market is
you'll see it in just a second.
Yeah, so the market is it's coming down to the weekly 8. So that number is 106,214. And so that's for that weekly 8 there. Again, we're not really, again, I can't get behind this rally from last week because just the volume of buyers just was so minute in comparison to other weeks. I mean, literally last week was the lowest volume we've had in literally, what was it? I mean, man, I can't even. Literally, that's crazy, dude.
The volume has not been
over a year. It's negligible. It's literally from
we
last
talked about
week.
that on the Friday show. You went right through it in
Yeah.
both BTC, ETH, and everything else. I mean, all the news talks about is ETH now. People are waiting for it to pump, but you showed the volume just going down and down and down and down.
We haven't had last week. We haven't had that amount of volume for almost 5 years in Bitcoin. 5 years, and honestly, it looks like it's even about right here. So boom, no, even it's scary the amount of volume that we are lacking, and this volume here is pushing this market up, but no real buyers. So it's kind of eerie. It's like the quiet before the storm. It's eerie. It's really eerie here. And so I wonder if they're gonna, if part of me says they're going to drop it hard. It's totally going to drop.
I think so too. I think it needs to drop hard before it makes a continued run up. As you've pointed out a number of times on the stream lately, Pedro, there's a big pool of liquidity and orders hanging out down there in the low 100s and the high 90s and even lower. You know, we'd all be happy if it just raced up to $300,000. Dragged all the alts with it, Ethereum up to 100K, all this type of stuff. You hear a lot of the other YouTube channels talking about it every day. These 6 alts are going to run tomorrow. ETH to 100,000, XRP, times a million. And really, it's got to come down into the low 100s and high 90s first.
Absolutely. It's really interesting to actually compare the ETH right now. So there's a few things I want to pick up, right? One is going to be ETH at this level. And it's interesting. I actually want to pick up because when I saw CZ say everybody in the future is going to want to get 0.1 ETH, right? Which will be worth as much as a house. And I sat there and I go, That means that Bitcoin would be, I mean, roughly, because the average house right now is 300,000, right? And so
Yeah.
0.1 would mean
In the U.S.
yeah, in the US, yeah. Like that is absolutely bonkers. That means you're talking, if it's 300,000 for an average, for 0.1, right? So that you're talking, you're added, what is that, 3 mil? That would be 30 mil. That'd be almost $300 million. $300 million that one Bitcoin would be. We laugh, but I was looking at this and it was sitting there. Like, it just understand, look, if every 4 years we see a boom and a bust on Bitcoin, okay, this year or this bull run, I would expect, I've said I expected 300,000 Bitcoin, between 250, 300,000. That would be this. The next 4, I would expect a 600, and this is a moderate 3x on Bitcoin. Okay. The next bull run, I expect a 600,000. So that's 8 years from now. The year after that, or the next 4 years, so that'd be 12 years, that'd be 1.2 mil. And then after that, like, you know what I'm saying? We're talking 3 mil. Come on. We have that 3 mil. So that'd be 16 years. Right? And then from there, you're talking 6 mil. So if in 30 years, I'm just putting this, like, let's just assume that this could actually happen. In 30 years, potentially we could be sitting at, I mean, roughly, if Bitcoin just did a 3x every year, or excuse me, not every year, every Bitcoin cycle, we're almost 30 million to 60 mil. I mean, it's just, go ahead.
That's just think of a division in the world of everybody that bought the Bitcoin back in today's terms, as they say, and are now sitting on immense, well, assuming they didn't squander it on the way up, just like, most people that held Bitcoin when it was at $1 never owned it past $10. Most people that owned it at $10 never owned it when it was $1,000. Of the many thousands of people that participated in the early Bitcoin, very few kept until now to get wealthy. The true holders did, and that would probably be the same case. The wealth would be consolidated into a number of large holders, but the people that did stick it out and all of a sudden have $300 million per Bitcoin, and maybe they have got 4 of them. Obviously, the luxury goods market's going to do well, and the world will quickly bifurcate. Is that the right word? Into those who have Bitcoin and those that don't, because those that don't will only be able to afford to buy sats. Each sat will be $3 at that point, Pedro.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what I think
anyway, welcome everyone. Let's just take a quick time out here, Pedro.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody watching on Rumble. We really appreciate it. Pedro and I was running a scroller on the bottom saying, hey, we need 200 followers to get in the Rumble Creator Program. That I need to update that. We are in the Rumble Creator Program now, but we still need 200 followers. So if you're watching this and do not follow us, please do. If you do not have an account, you don't have to pay for one on Rumble. You can get the super premium account, which you may see an ad for later in the show. But create an account, sign in. You can like us, you can comment, you can ask questions, and all that type of stuff. It really helps us out. And of course, to the few of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much for your dedication over there. It's probably Crypto really Mike and Pedro.
That's about right. But shout out to all those guys watching us. Keyword shout out. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you guys. I think what's interesting is that most people want to sit there and kind of poo-poo. And I listened for years. I did. I mean, I literally had a friend of mine when Bitcoin hit $100. He goes, "Do you think I should buy it?" And I go, "Dude, it's funny money, bro." He goes, "Yeah, but it could get much higher." And he's a holder. You know, he bought XRP when XRP was, I think it was less than a cent. And I actually walked him through trading it, where to buy at levels. And the other one was Litecoin, when Litecoin, I think, had $1. And he bought in. I was literally helping him like trade and buy in at these low levels when it first opened up. And I go, oh, he goes, dude, you should buy. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy that, bro. I just don't believe in it. I think it's dumb. And he goes, all right, man. Well, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be something. He goes, why don't you just learn about blockchain? I was like, nah, I'm good. Man, I'm still mad. Because I mean, I sometimes we'll talk and I go, bro, and at the time he was making 300,000, 250,000. He just got a job, was one of the top guys at his job. And so I was like, how much are you putting into this? He goes, oh, bro, I'm probably putting in about 1/3 of my paycheck into crypto.
Oh,
you know,
way back then. Oh,
way back then. And he's a holder. And so I was sitting there going like, dude, why don't you just buy a house? Just buy a house. It's you and your wife and you're about to have a kid. And he goes, no, man, I'm telling you. And I should have just listened to him. If I would have just put in just a little cash, around that time, things would have been just, anyways. But the reason why I say that is we're still there. I mean, the idea behind this is, look, is in 20, 30 years, all right, when Bitcoin is sitting around 30 million, if not higher, okay? And again, I'm being very conservative here when I do the 30 million in 30 years. I mean, I really am. And this idea behind it is that I don't think it's going to go down. The fervency in which the governments and everybody else is looking to get it. Well, I say it like this because people are trying to like play nonchalant, but if they're trying to buy in, right? Or, Microsoft sitting there saying, yeah, we're not going to buy Bitcoin. But yet Warren Buffett is buying banks who literally deal with nothing else but crypto, right? Down in Brazil. But at the same time, in the front of his mouth, he's sitting there saying crypto bad, but in the side of his mouth, he's like, buy that crap. So we forget these small little nuances because they got to push this market down so they can buy in. So it's just really interesting to sit there and say, right now, you know what 0.1% is of Bitcoin? It's $100. It's $107 as we speak right now, right? And so you can, instead of going out and blowing money away, go through and just literally buy a Bitcoin, right? Or not Bitcoin, but throw in 100, throw $200 in, right? Like you're going to Vegas, bro. Boom, leave it in there. Even $500. I told a friend of mine, I said, listen, just buy 500 Bitcoin, bro. Just throw in $500, leave it alone, and you'll just come back in 30 years. He goes, why? And I go, I promise you, it'll be worth a lot more money then, and it'll be hard money. It's like buying gold. He looked at me. He was like, all right, whatever. And I go, you're welcome. It was like one of those things I had to sit there and tell him, like, dude, trust me. I promise you, it'll be good, And then, so once you get them to buy one Bitcoin and they start to see the fluctuations, or let's say it goes down to, $50 or $40, where I think it might go, I'm going to tell him. He's like, dude, this dropped in half. I'm like, great, buy more. I'll sound like Michael Saylor. Okay, great. Buy more. But it's just the act of it. Anyways, so with that said, I do expect to see Bitcoin kind of go lower here. We're not seeing a lot of volume. And look at this day. Like, look at the amount of sell volume coming in. We hit that 8-period moving average. I thought we were going to hit it down here on Friday and Saturday, but came up, tapped it, and now we're kind of seeing it push back up. But ultimately, I'm not going to get fooled by this huge rally. Again, one of the things I always talk about is dollar cost average, whatever period you dollar cost average on, whether it's monthly, weekly, daily. So I know some people do it daily. I'm like, dude, daily, it's expensive. That's 3% every shot. And they're like, yeah, but they got a certain amount of money they want to buy in. So always dollar cost average, but also save some dry powder to pick up. So when we see the sell off, you can buy in at a good price. So that's it in a nutshell. And dude, I do not know why, but I keep getting these dream girl international dating freaking like advertises, bro. It's absolutely horrible. I'm like, what is going? What did I do? I don't think I looked at anything I didn't look at anything inappropriate. I'm like, how do they know that I'm single? You know, I'm like.
Maybe Pedro, they someone's riding on your Wi-Fi, and that person is, and they're just matching it to the Wi-Fi.
What's that mean? I don't know what that means. Right.
Someone's on your Wi-Fi, then the advertisers get that IP address, and they say, we don't know anything else about this person, Pedro, but this other device on their network is surfing sheep porn, and so we'll send Pedro that.
Ugh. All right. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone again for coming visiting us.
Hold on, Pedro. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yes.
Because it's that ding, 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 ding time.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you still not tried 1775 coffee yet? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. Just 1,000 units. It's scarce, like Bitcoin. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check. The smooth, medium roast and the Vitality mushroom coffee for a clean energy and laser focus. No crash. No. Stay focused. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped up with plastic, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, no microplastics in your coffee. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions at the same time. You also get a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or coffee from a woke sea witch. No. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. That's right. Go to 1775coffee/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. Ladies and gentlemen, 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. And it's on this side of me right here. There's also a QR code on the screen. If you're watching this and you're a fan of our show, click that QR code with your phone or however you do it and find your way over to that link. It helps us out just knowing, the advertisers knowing that our audience does listen to me when I read these things. And you don't need to buy anything, but we would appreciate it if you did, and that would be unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, 1775coffee.com/studio. Thank you very much to the 1775 coffee people.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys rock. I still need to buy some. I gotta try some of it out. Have you gotten it yet?
Pedro, we're no, but you have to pay the $99.
I still will. That sounds fun.
But we're moving up. That was 57 cents that time.
50, moving on up to the side.
To the Carlton dance.
Bro, it's got to come down and then up. Down. You know, as I sit down here on my little exercise ball hanging out. Oh, what's up, Crypto Mike? Good to see you again, man. He made it. Shout out. Whoop, 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 whoop. Mike, sir, good to have you as well. Good old faithfuls. So it was really interesting, though, to watch what was actually happening between Trump and, it's almost like a little feud going on between Powell and Trump. And then Besant, he's just like, I'll do whatever you want. He just says, listen, we already have his replacement, so I ain't even tripping. If he decides he want to go, we good. Don't trip. All right, D. Oop. And he's like, all right, B, I got you. Donald Trump is like that. It's kind of weird, and the thing is I don't think it's good to drop the rates yet. I think they're right. I very much think they're right. And again, I'm not opposed to Trump. I just don't think he understands the full nuances. We already talked about, we went over on Friday, a lot of the goods that feed the food that we eat. And then I went over the charts with the food that we eat. And they're not going down. So it's like we do have inflation, and I would say it like this. I understand that he needs the rates down, right, for loans for us to build the buildings. I get that. I fully get that. But on the back end, you could just simply give subsidies to those buildings, to those businesses. We do that all the time. You know what I mean? Half of the farming industry is subsidized here in America.
That's true.
And so I feel like, look, I hate to sit there and say hand out money, but at least it's going to something that's going to generate real capital, right? With real jobs that we'll see progress. So that in itself could keep inflation down in that aspect, right? But on the back end, if they drop rates, man, it is going to hurt. So, I mean, I respect Donald Trump. I think what he's trying to do is good. I respect actually his, like, the bombing situation, right? I hate to say that, but I mean, the reality is this, is that, yo, they came to the table real quick, real humble, saying, all right, uncle, right?
Enough of that shit. Sorry.
yeah. Our bad. All right, you real, dog. You real. All right, cool. But like, but being more professional in the sense that it was almost like, do you want to keep doing this? Like, we can keep doing this. We're freaking America. It was actually the All-In podcast that was talking. I think it was Chamath that said this solidified us as a world power again, as a real, like, you want to F around and find out? All right. Like, and so it was really interesting. What were your thoughts on that last week's fullness and how we saw how it turned about?
Well, a good analogy, Pedro, to what you said is the end of World War II in the Pacific, when we only had 2 atomic bombs, but we dropped both of them and laid it out that we would keep dropping more until either you guys surrendered or your country was all turned into rubble. And thankfully, the Japanese then government of Japan, military commanders, didn't know that we only had 2. And they came crashing to the table too. They're like, hold it. You know, and the emperor finally said, you know, the unimaginable is about to happen, or whatever exactly he said. And the Ayatollah, I am sure, is saying that in his inner circle. You know, exterior, they're saying they had a great victory over the U.S. and shot down their planes, and all those fake images of the F-35 plane that's about the size of a cruise ship. And saying they shot down one of our bombers, and all these missiles went and struck the military bases, all this kind of stuff, while they blocked the internet there. But inside the same circle, they're probably doing the same thing. They're like, man, we had it good for a while. We were stealing everything from the country. We were enslaving the people, keeping them poor, all on this constant mantra of a revolution. And the only revolution that actually happened was to take the money that the Shah had 40 years ago, in which he was essentially deposed by Jimmy Carter, and transfer it to a new group of people. Instead of like one guy and his family having it, 10 guys and their families have it. And the people still have doodly squat. And the Iranian people were always a very educated people. They were always used to a Western standard of living. And they haven't really progressed much past. I was watching a story about it, how it's essentially the late 80s and early 90s as far as technology, infrastructure projects, and all that type of stuff in Iran. Plenty of good stuff. They make a lot of stuff themselves. They're very ingenious. But the government said, hold on. But do I believe the government? That's another question. Not our government. Do I believe the Iranian government? Of course not. They've spent 40 years lying. Everything that's been released out of their official statements and everything is untrue. So we'll see, Pedro. We'll see. This is like Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify. And we need to do that with Iran.
Now, my question is this. So we let them, I mean, the fact that they telegraphed and called us and said, hey, we're going to bomb these things, make sure nobody's there. I thought that was really interesting. And more importantly, watching the actual, like Netanyahu, it was almost like he was mad, man. There's a lot of memes of.
They're like, why don't you guys call me?
yeah. Well,
it was out.
was it Joe Pesci, and when he was speaking with the casino with uh I forget what's the guy's name, yeah,
Robert De
Robert.
Niro.
Yeah, it was Robert De Niro, and he's sitting there just laying into him, and it was almost like America, it was almost like America, and like going after. There's all those memes, and I was like, man, like it was like legit. Like I just thought it was super funny. They were still fine after the bomb drop, but what was interesting is that watching people respond to us, like, and like almost like, when, like, remember as a kid when there was a fight and you would be like, oh snaps, there's a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this like excitement, but yet you're like, oh, I hope nobody gets hurt or whatever, all these little things. It was scary, but not. But it was almost like that experience of like that pre-fight between Netan, BB and Trump, of like, ooh, is this gonna escalate? But like we always got their back. They're like a little brother, but they're they know how to fight, say, you can let them go, right? Like they're gonna handle business. But in the same sense, it's like, dog, chill out. But on the back end, what's up?
Oh, I was just exclaiming dog.
Oh yeah. Well, let me bring a technical side to this. Like in that aspect of watching the geopolitical situation happening, it's going to be really interesting to see the next summit of the the G20, and as Trump comes on, that watching him over this past one, he was very relaxed and he wasn't trying to like bully anybody. He was very, and he goes, okay, I got to get out of here, dude. We got to go. But watching the next situation as they meet together, it's going to be really interesting seeing the dynamics between the countries. And now that everybody realizes, like, everybody's coming to the table, the trade wars are dying down. People know that they need us to buy their goods and services. And it's going to be really interesting to see as we move forward here, what is truly going to be the new structure here. Because basically America made it very clear to the rest of the world, like, we don't need you. We can be self-sustaining in a lot of areas. Only in like, what's up?
Sorry, I must have developed a slight delay. I was just saying you're right.
And so it's going to be really interesting to see as we progress here, what is going to be the full scope of this, and watching that balance of him interacting with the rest of the world. And what is he going to be able to pull off, in a sense, right? Like for an American centrist view, as we pull out of this globalist mindset, it's going to be really interesting.
Well, there's a lot of people stuck in this globalist mindset, and for good reason. I mean, there's plenty of economic case study, not just theory, but in practice and real world stuff that happens that say, essentially, I can't remember the exact principle that what it's called, but it's, whoever's the most efficient at building something, let them build it, and you'll get the most productivity out of your system. So if China's the best at building widgets and we're the best at building wadgets, even though we both can build them, then each one should build the one the best they can. They'll get the most output out of their economy. And that's all great if the world is one big happy utopia. And Pedro, right, I have to ask you, yes, is the world one big happy utopia?
Absolutely. Haven't you ever been to South Sudan?
No, but I've been some places close to it, and it is not a happy camper place.
Oh, forgive me. And no disrespect to South Sudan and stuff like that, but they would even agree, right? It's not the
Juba is not a place that you want to go. It's just Juba, South Sudan, right?
Yeah. So. But in the same sense, it's one of those aspects of being able to really gauge what's actually happening around the world. And we've talked many times about the geopolitical behaviors jumping all the way back from Biden and the interactions between him and other countries. And also on the back end, seeing how Trump was parlaying that as he would go out in the midst of his non-being president, right? So it was kind of a weird situation. And it's what I don't like about it is that this part right here, and we can check out crude oil here now, is that I don't like this. I don't I don't like intermingling and being able to spook a market. You know, I like free market. I know there is no such thing as a free market, but that idea that what we're sitting right now of him just saying knock that crap off, just part of me is still not sitting right, because at any period in time he can move other markets, and let's say he, you know, he wants to move gold or he wants to move something else. So this is where it's a little bit what's the word, right? Precarious in that aspect, because he
Shady.
can shady, yeah. And it's just like, I mean, and watching this right here, watching him come out and say knock that crap off when he came to crude oil. Do you understand the power that this right here, this candle right here, is Trump? That's him saying knock that crap off.
That's a lot of money in that candle.
It's a lot of money in that candle, exactly. A lot. And to watch it sell off and to come back to a reasonable level of that 65, if not further, is a scary situation, because that means that he has the ability to be able to basically manipulate a lot of things happening. Now,
no, I'm sure nothing like that's ever happened.
Right.
His kids have never front run any of his dad's meeting.
Right. Like, and again, this is not, I'm not opposed to Trump. I'm not even opposed to the guy making money, but make sure that you're just not doing it in self-interest. And that's what it looks like, you know, like, yes, it is self-interest to keep crude oil down from an energy standpoint for an American centrist ideology. So it does help us all out. But on the back end, if he wants to move things around as well, what else would he might do? So that's all I'm saying. Jumping to gold here. Gold has definitely been selling off here with the less, you know, everything kind of dying down in the Middle East. Hopefully there is a long lasting, what's the word I want to use? A very long lasting
peace.
Thank you. But
non-bombing day, a day that has no unaliving. I learned that term the other day. Unaliving. You got really? Unalived. I'm like unalived. They're like, I didn't want to type dead.
That's exactly.
Use the woke, a more not woke, we'll say politically correct term of unalived.
Well, it was interesting. He stops the algorithm from messing with you. So the
algorithm's going unalived. That must be good.
live. Oh, we forgot to interact. I realized this. We haven't been saying the trigger words for the algorithm. Mr. Beast, Taylor Swift, Swifties. What was the other one? Mr. Beast and Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan.
Korean pop BTS band or whatever.
All right, so let's check out gold here. We're watching gold here come back down to our lower levels here. We talked about us hitting that 3100 area. This was our demand zone, so we're seeing it continue down. This is where I'm expecting it to come down to. If you're looking to buy gold in itself in the raw form, that might be a good area. Also, coming back down to that 2850 here to the 2802 is another potential area. You have one other spot sitting at that 200-day period moving average also, which is going to be sitting at that 2927 area. So as gold starts to come down and things starts to de-escalate throughout the world, we're already watching China come to the table saying they're going to work with tariffs and they're going to stop being, lack of a better word, douches, and actually work with us. And so as it comes down here, we should see some where this de-escalates and we see gold drop to kind of decent level of that 20. So if you're still looking to be picking up gold, the reason why we're also going over gold is I found it really interesting that Texas is now taking legal tender in gold and silver, which I thought was really interesting.
I hadn't seen that, but you mentioned it earlier, Pedro, and I was behind the scenes before things started going to help. I started looking for that, but I didn't come up with it yet. They're essentially saying that if you are owed a debt, you can pay someone in gold and silver again.
I'll send it to you right here, right now.
I guess you could always do that. I mean, you could take payment for anything. But you can take it. You could pay the government essentially for it. Then
Yeah,
you
that's what I think it is that you could pay the government in taxes and things like that, which is I thought was really
imagine giving the government your gold instead of
No.
fiat currency.
No, I would never do that. It's like paying taxes with Bitcoin. It's like, no, like, what's funny is I think it was Arizona who did that, right? Where you could pay taxes and Bitcoin and crypto, and they really received nothing. It was like basically, it was like crickets. You know what I'm saying? It was super funny. So I'm not gonna give up my gold or my silver or my crypto to pay taxes. I'll figure out a way with fiat.
I'll give you a depreciating asset. Hey,
Exactly.
how about you take my old car?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, take it. So it's just really interesting to see what's actually happening there. But ultimately, I thought it was a good play with everything that's happening in the world right now. I mean, I've talked about the housing market on Friday. Things are definitely heating up in the opposite sense, that we're seeing a lack of people buying houses, and they're creating new loans, shockingly, restructuring things so that people can buy houses. But even then, that's died off. I'm almost up to 13% drop off in previous. And we also talked about a lot last year how the housing market was literally crippling. It was falling apart. It was almost 40% had dropped off compared to previous year. It was only the last 2 months of the year, which I thought maybe was even government buying, because there's just no way that up at the drop of the house that people were still buying. So the rates were still up. Things were moving up. I mean, rates haven't come down. So why would somebody buy houses? So it's still escalating. We're watching people come in, and it's just a matter of time. If businesses keep laying people off or seeing their product, or excuse me, their people, not product, excuse me, seeing their people, the reason I say, as people aren't buying stuff like products within stores, IKEA isn't doing the best, Home Depot isn't doing the best. So these are going to be little bellwethers within the economy, what's actually happening here. And so it's just, you got to be paying attention here. So this is why I think that we're going to see, I don't want to say 2008, but we will see a sell-off that's going to be substantial. And like I've said this here now a few times, I expect to see a sell-off, and in that sell-off, Trump needs to get jobs going. He needs to get those factories built. We're already starting to see them. We're seeing a lot of these people from the government sector starting to go into private sector jobs. And so it's becoming tight because jobs are becoming tight. So I saw a guy today at the grocery store saying, holding up a sign, got laid off on Friday, I need a job. And so
I've seen the same signs.
and that's real. Like, I'm sitting there going like, man.
No, I mean, I think it's people just saying, they saw, one guy did it, and everyone's like, it's like the signs, we'll work for beer, or don't give me money, give me beer,
Oh yeah,
make you laugh and get your attention.
But they're just say, I need a job, like, just straight up. If you notice, if you drive by Home Depot,
well, wasn't there some jobs reports today?
I think so. You are right. Speaking of that, let's go over reports we have coming in this week.
Yeah, it is a busy week with numbers. It's non-farm payroll week. That's Thursday this week. And usually that week that comes out is somewhat of a disaster for trading, because people don't put on long week hold things for the whole week because it gets a little squirrely in trading. So it's different this week, and there are different rules for trading. But plenty of opportunities if you can guess which way the numbers are going to go. And also, Jerome Powell speaks this week, I believe, Pedro. I think that's tomorrow, as a matter of fact, right?
Let me check here real quick. Global trade, you got isms coming up for July or for June. Boom. You got jobs. I was thinking, jobs were Tuesday. I didn't think it was. Yeah, jobs are Tuesday, and you got the isms manufacturing for June. As I am getting ready to burp, forgive me.
The old mute button.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. We also have coming up this week ADP, and then to finish it off, a non-farm payroll, which is going to basically be on Thursday. And it was going to be really interesting with that, watching the non-farm along with the initial claims here. They're expecting us to actually increase the initial jobless claims. And so last month, it actually had dropped, which was really interesting that this number was actually dropped last month. So this month, if we go up, which is what they expect, again, this is going to be more or less government workers, things like that, and as well as just people laying people off. Like again, I keep saying that the economy is slowing down. People don't want to hear it, that we're already in a recession. We've been in a recession for a while. And so people just don't want to sit there and say it. So it's just these little small nuances that I expect to see what's going to happen. But ultimately, this is kind of the peak of it. If Jerome does speak, I think he's going to be more timid than anything. Or it'd be crazy to see him become very strong, simply say like, I ain't going nowhere for the next year. I mean, if he wants to, he could stay in position the next year.
Yeah,
right? Like
totally.
absolutely, his term is up, boom. But to be under that scrutiny between him and Besant, which Besant seems so like he would be a great president. Like he's so just monologue, just like, yeah, no. He's so even keel. Like if that man was to run for president, I just might be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Check that off.
Pedro, if you were going to run for president, where would you run your campaign ads?
Crypto.
I think you'd run your campaign ads on Rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, this sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor political opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to the pressure from the Biden and Harris administration and censored their platform. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked in governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They just don't get much of it. Watching our show, DYOR Live, here on the DYOR Media Network, on Rumble, is the most Rumble can ask for you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, well, we're just happy that you watch us here on Rumble. Don't forget, there's a QR code here on the window right here, pointing to it. Click that with your phone. Click that with your whatever snippy, snappy app you have on your laptop or tablet, and head over to Rumble. There's also in the chat, there'll be a posting about that. If you're watching this on YouTube, a link will be posted in the bottom body telling you how to get to it. But Rumble Premium, Pedro, I subscribe to Rumble Premium for two reasons. One, I'm a creator here on Rumble, and our DYOR Media account benefits from that. But you also don't get ads. That's awfully nice.
Yeah.
That's awfully nice. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, to get $10 off an annual subscription, go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO to get Rumble Premium. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Good old dude. I'm trying to
26 cents.
Yes, I'm trying to parlay our connection with Rumble and seeing if we can potentially get somewhere. So, fingers crossed. But I do like there's a lot of educational stuff also, just like on YouTube, just like on Rumble. I'm actually kind of shocked. I was thinking it was more
Yeah.
just talking heads, but there's a lot of education of how to do things if you want to learn how to do something. Now, granted, like you may get 5 or 6 videos, whereas YouTube has 10 million.
They're
But
catching up. People are
yeah,
adding stuff every day. Even
yeah.
in our little category of crypto, there are now many people streaming to it, and many people also uploading videos to
Mhm.
it. Whereas only even just a month ago, especially 2 months ago, there were very few people doing it, or most of them were just crappy, just awful things that were homegrown. But
Yeah,
now most creators that I know on YouTube have either moved like we did to be Rumble centric first,
yeah.
and then simulcast to YouTube, or just are doing both and trying to figure it out. But one thing for sure, we have ditched Kick. We don't broadcast to Kick anymore because they had too many feed people and not enough actual viewers. In Rumble does have millions and millions of actual viewers, and we welcome all the many tens of them that watched our show.
Appreciate you guys immensely. We actually had Sucker Free Club. Good old
Yeah,
Jesus.
go ahead. Go ahead. I haven't been talking about that, but
Then I want to shout out to one of our OG faithful guys over on YouTube, Sucker Free Club. Jose. I hope
Jesus.
Jesus is doing well, and pray, man, that you're doing well with your business, man. I know he's got a small. Actually, I don't even know if it's small. It could be really big. We don't know. Used car dealership over in San Francisco. San Francisco Bay Area. So just shout out to our guy over there. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
And I don't know why, Jesus, I don't know why your name is displaying without your actual written username. It's just displaying your YouTube handle. That's
Yeah.
not part of it. I'm looking at the same thing you are. And YouTube is just doing that. Maybe you got a new device. Maybe you logged in from a different browser, don't have an option set correctly, whatever.
Oh, shout out. He's like Sucker Free
Have a,
City. Always, man. I keep the ball rolling. Thanks for the love. Always, man. Always, Jesus. Much love, my brother. Dude, come over to you or not YouTube. What's it called? What do you want to call it?
Rumble.
Rumble. Come over to Rumble, bro.
You can watch it in the background even when you turn your screen off too, or put your phone in your pocket. You can still listen to it. Crypto
Oh
Mike
yeah.
just figured that out.
Yeah, definitely. Jumping back to some of the stuff that we were talking about. So what I thought was interesting over the weekend also is that the world was not crazy. It felt like as if the world is sitting there again. Everybody's just kind of taking a breath of fresh air, going, "Okay, is it ended?" We didn't really see much over in Europe. We didn't really see much over um, in Mexico or South America, anything like that. LA wasn't burning, at least that I know of, right? Like,
The roof Koreans weren't out protecting anything.
well, which I thought was really interesting is I was watching a few guys, and so there was this guy. He's like, he was Mexican, and he goes, "Listen, I am a citizen. I get that you guys want to stay in America, but you're holding up a Mexican flag in the country that you want to stay in. You're not helping your cause." Like, the guy was out in California, and he's like, "I'm from here. I'm trying to tell you," and it went viral, absolutely viral. He's like, "Stop the crazy and like do it right." Like, and we get it. Like, do it like the old immigrants. They came in, they kept their mouth shut, they weren't crazy, and they worked their butt off, and they played back and forth. And then I thought it was really interesting of how many people on his on the comments were like, yeah, like, why is it weird like this? Like, why are you guys making it weird? America will let you in. Just almost like it's almost like when you used to go into the club, right? And you were 19 or 20, right? But they would be, stay low, right? It was almost like that. You know, like America knows, like we need immigrants. Absolutely. We're not going to be out in the field picking. Like we're not, you know, unless there's a teenage kid who needs a job, the majority of
Right.
our dishwashers in America are immigrants. And it's cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing, it's cool beans, right? Just don't be idiots. You know, come over, keep your mouth shut, work hard, then go back to Mexico or wherever you're at, right? And then file for papers, right? And then like, dude, like you got money, file your papers, right? You know how to get here. You already make connections. And this is how it was done.
I don't see why there isn't there isn't all sorts of temporary visas where you get an opportunity. You get 1 year to come on over, work, and then you go home and get in the queue, and you have a successful track record. Did you get arrested while you were here? No. Okay, that's good. Did you pay your taxes while you're here? Yep, all is good. All right. Well, then you're ahead of the line back home. And I mean, the farming industry needs seasonal workers. I mean, you just can't get that. And you know, Pedro, this is an interesting topic that I can't remember if we brought up or not. You know who else needs seasonal workers?
Who?
The people that make iPhones, Foxconn.
Really?
They
Americans don't want to like build phones?
They employ 50,000 seasonal workers in China, Foxconn. It's a Taiwanese company, but they have massive operations in China. For this reason, when the new phones are announced every year, they have to ramp up production to sell a bazillion of them. But as soon as they make, you know, whatever they sell in the first couple of months, then regular production can keep up. But for that ramp up, they need 50,000 temporary workers. But these temporary workers they don't just like grab kids off the street and say, go do it. This is their career, their life. It's like being a school teacher. They go work for Foxconn for 2 or 3 months, however long it is. They get paid very well, and they live in dorms there, and they're at the factory. And then they go out and they do other seasonal work. They work in agriculture in China. They work as teachers, not year-long teachers, but teachers of courses, all this type of stuff. And that works for them because they've developed other, you know, like teachers in the US. They work 3/4 of the year, and 1/4 of the year they don't work as a teacher, but a lot of them take other jobs. A lot of them are lifeguards. A lot of them are summer camp counselors. A lot of them are this and that in the summer. Now, let's say Apple said, all right, we're going to make all these things in the US. Where are they going to get 50,000 seasonal workers? Mexico.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll have to import people from Mexico for 2 or 3 months. 50,000 of them have housing and labor camps and all this type of stuff. And internationally, the word labor camp is housing where laborers live. In the U.S., it's, you know, not a good term. Labor camp means bad things, but the rest of the world, it's a term where laborers live. And so I found that very, and that's the reason why Steve Jobs told Barack Obama a long time ago, these jobs are never coming back, and because he sees how you know, that many. I mean, can they build a small factory here in the U.S. just to build, you know, 1/10 of what they need? I'm sure they can. But
I think, but the key is like, right, and I just want to parlay off of this with you, springboard. We can't like we need to make sure that we have the ability to have, in case we go to war, in case something happens, we need to have the ability of creating the fine-tuned war, say the warheads or whatever, right? Whatever equipment that we need to build to go to war, we need to be able to do that here. And and I think that's what I think a lot of people are more concerned about, that like we don't have that. Like really, if we were to go to war right now, we'd have to, let's say we go to war with China, dude, we're yeah, we really are. Like, you know, so it's one of those things that we need to be able to build our own drones. We need to be able to build our own manufacturing war machine here, like we did in World War II. And I'm not saying we build massive amounts. I'm just saying we need to be able to just, you know, make sure that we're
in the back in the day in World War II, we could build a Liberty ship, one Liberty ship per day. And these Liberty ships were the massive cargo ships that just took the big convoys stuff across the Atlantic and the Pacific. And now we can build one of those in 4 years.
Right.
Admittingly, ships are more complicated now, and the ships back then, they just stripped them down and made whatever they could to haul men and tanks and fuel and stuff as fast as they could. And so it was much easier to do those. But still, we don't have any ship. We have 4 shipyards left in the United States. China has 4 on every street corner. Even Korea has more shipyards than the United States. And we shut all our shipyards down and turned them into, like, you know, entertainment districts. And now in a war, we would be turning those around back into shipyards, because you can't make a new shipyard somewhere else if there's not a deep harbor. You know, can't just say, oh, well, let's just put it in Columbus, Ohio. You know?
I agree with you. Here's a breaking news, which I thought was really interesting. Senator Cynthia Lumens calls for Congress to end unfair taxes on Bitcoin and crypto. For many years, miners and stakers have been taxed twice. Once when they receive block rewards, and again when they sell it. It's time to stop this unfair tax treatment and ensure America is the world's Bitcoin and crypto superpower. Which I thought was really interesting. I didn't know that. I don't mind.
You're right. I don't either, but I do know that I'm trying to think of what it was, is that they tax. They don't tax. I don't think they tax. If someone's listening that's a miner, Bitcoin miner, please comment on this, because I'm not going to get it right. But there was a push to tax at like an exorbitant amount, like 40%, every Bitcoin or proof of work token coin that you got, just because it was, like, you know, a lot of free money. So Elizabeth Warren and crew were like, well, we got to tax it a lot, because, you know, it's just free crypto, and, you know, the government should have a big chunk of that, so it's got to be taxed. And it was shot down as part of the one of the bills last year. But there is some provision where it's essentially you're still getting property for free in the eyes of the IRS, and so they want it to be considered as property that you get for free, which you have to pay income tax on. And then when you sell it, you have to pay on the gains. Also, I'm not exactly sure how that works. I think I remember Chuck Jansen telling me about it once a long time ago.
He minds.
Pedro, I gotta, as they say, take a very quick break here.
Actually, I just realized it's 2:18. It is time to.
I've got nothing else to go here today. If we want to go for a little longer okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah. But one of the things I thought as well as, so China just released a system, which I thought was really interesting. So one of the things I think, and, you know, again, we don't know if this is really fully true, but China unveiled a new blackout bomb, capable of crippling power grids across 10,000 square meters with carbon filament payloads, which I thought was really interesting.
We make those. We use them on Baghdad and a bunch of other cities in Iraq. It goes in and it's really pretty ingenious. It just spits out mile long carbon filaments, and they drape down over the transformers and electrical wires and shorts everything out. Just turns everything into a mess.
Nice.
And like they're so small, but they don't need to carry a lot before the electricity burns them up, before it shorts out those big things and trips. Most of the time, it just trips the relays really quickly, but a lot of times it just lights all the shit on fire. Whoops.
That's what's up. Crown Vic.
I know. That's years of going to defense trade shows, and you learn the coolest stuff.
That's actually really cool stuff. That's actually really cool. I'm just trying to think any other cool news that are just things that I'm looking at here that would be good to bring up. But I do got to get going. Unfortunately, I always enjoy hanging out with everybody here and kind of giving trade stuff. Tomorrow we have Technical Tuesday, so if you guys want to come and hang out and kind of see potentially where the markets may go, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have every one of you. And if you guys could do us a huge favor, I hate to plead and beg and grovel here, but please log on and hit the like button. Please. We just want to be able to hear from you guys. And you don't need to sign up for a premium. If you would like to, you can. You get a lot more stuff, but in the same sense, by you just coming in, it does help us out. Interacting with us always makes things better for us. So yeah.
It does. It does. All right, Pedro, if that's all we got here today, then that's all we got. I know you and I are very good at talking forever, and there's a lot of topics we could hit today. But like I said, tomorrow is an information-intensive day. We've got Jerome Powell speaking tomorrow. We've got Pedro Garcia speaking tomorrow. So markets will be moving and grooving. Jerome's going to move them one way. Pedro's going to move them the other way, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we
Crazy,
hope.
man.
Just Pedro's selling. Sell. Mortimer, sell. For those of you that pick up on that, not that name, and you are an OG movie watcher like Pedro and I. Where I thought I played the old music here.
Sorry for being late today. We just had a bunch of technical difficulties, and we're leaving early.
I was an F-all disaster here today, including getting the BitLocker key requirement before going live.
Yeah,
nothing changed on my computer. No, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. Tomorrow, like I said, is an intensive information day. Lots of stuff to go over, lots to learn. I'm sure Pedro and I will still have a lot of banter and education and entertainment as well.
Yeah.
So, as they say, Technical Tuesday is tomorrow at noon on the same channel that you're watching us now. Thanks to everyone on Rumble that tuned in. Thanks to 1775 Coffee and Rumble itself for advertising on our show today and sponsoring us. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And to everyone else, as always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. The man in the larger box this time next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia, crypto chart analyst, and we will be here tomorrow.